We're back. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
I'm attorney Gavin Richard. I grew up here in New Orleans, so I know how important family, friends, and community are to us. And helping others has been a lifelong passion of mine. If you've been injured in an accident, you may be out of work and faced with large medical bills. You'll need someone to fight the insurance companies so that you can get on with your life. Give me a call at 504-799-2288, and I'll be with you all the way. The law offices of Gavin M. Richard, going the distance so that justice may be served.
Hi, I'm attorney Gavin M. Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jell-O, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Would you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format.
Whoever you are, wherever you are. Good evening. I hope you are blessed and doing safe. The place to be is right here with me. It is Random Topic Thursdays, only on channel GBoo2786 and Gavin Richard, which is the backup channel here on YouTube. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Tonight we discuss the following. Biden and Harris reach out to the Divine Nine. Travis McMichael takes the stand. Kevin Goff still asks for a mistrial and banning black pastors. Day 3 of jury deliberations in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Journalist scoop slammed. MSNBC barred from the proceedings. Also, we'll be discussing these two to other topics as well, including the death of young Dolph, killed at age 36. And finally, rest in peace to the co-founder of the Gap Band, Mr. Ronnie Wilson. All this and more. Now, of course, we have our special guest, our brother. You can buy his books such as John Haynes, The Man with Nothing to Lose, which is available right at that link on Amazon, and some of his other new books, including John Haynes' latest, John Haynes Taking Care of Business and Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. That is none other than Shawn James, ladies and gentlemen. Shawn, welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here, Gavin.
Glad to have you too. We'll get started in a minute. Of course, we got to pay some dues, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we ask that you please visit our Creole Seasoning website, our Creole Seasoning blend, known as CreoleBlends.com. Just in time for the holidays, if you want some good old-fashioned Creole seasoning, go to the website and order you some. That'll go in your on your turkey, or on your ham, fish, roast, whatever you want, but try it on chicken, meat, or fish. And all this goes great with every dish. I should have just stopped at turkey, but that's the slogan. Okay. I wrote that myself. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we have our music. Of course, you know I'm a musician, so check out Video Soul, which is available on Spotify, Amazon, Apple. You can stream that, but you could also download it. That would be helpful. And also, ladies and gentlemen, our theme song for the show. Now, of course, before we get on down, it's always best that we get on up. So without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy our musical interlude, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have any comments in the chat, please do so. And also, I would like for you to hit something in the Cash App. You can donate to the Cash App at the bottom. It's GavinRichardEsq, or you can do PayPal or Google Pay to support a young brother. So I would appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, let us get on up, and we'll be right back.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Because on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the...
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop, I'll do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
And move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Baby, yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up. Baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Gotta get on up. I'm gonna do it in the other key, the real key. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Oh, what's up, everybody? Of course, I'll get a copyright strike right after the live stream is over. But let's bring Shawn back in. It's good to see all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're blessed and doing safe. I'm not on Facebook, on Twitter anymore, doing the stream today because for whatever reason, I believe Twitter has shadow banned me, yours truly, when I go live. So when I've posted it on, how you doing, Shawn? There you are.
Hey.
When I go live, for whatever reason, I have not been able to see my people on Twitter watching me for whatever reason. So I just decided I'm just going to go straight YouTube and build off the audience that I have there, and we'll take it from there. But Shawn, it's great to have you here.
And it's great to be here, Gavin.
Again, as always. And Shawn, while we're at it, and while I got you here, why don't you do a little plug-in? Tell us about the latest books. I saw someone had a comment about John Rings series or something. Is that
John
something?
Haynes series.
Well, someone put John Rings. I thought that was another character.
Oh no, it's the character they just misinterpreted. Well, the fall 2021 SJS Direct books are here, and you can pick up Stop Simping in Cyberspace, which is now available right now in paperback and Kindle format, and is also available on Google Play. And this is one that continues my series of men's issues simp books that help guys break out of the simp paradigm. But this time, you're going to be able to break out of that simp paradigm online when dealing with people like your e-girls and your Instagram models and avoiding these kind of predators. So that's what you can do when you pick up Stop Simping in the Cyberspace, which is now available on Amazon.com right now and is also available on Google Play, and it's in paperback and Kindle format. And tomorrow is the big day that eSteam Cancelification drops on Kindle, and you can pick up a copy in paperback of Cancelification right now, which is now available. And this is a fun book that is for all ages and teaches about how cancel culture affects people. So this book, eSteam Cancelification, is an essential read for all of the, especially young kids, to learn about how cancel culture hurts other people. And it's definitely one I think everybody should get out here and read. Now, I really want to get the sales up on Cancelification, so I'm urging everybody to go out and pick up a copy on Kindle or pick up a copy in paperback. And I'm also asking people to come out and pick up some books like Stop Simping in Cyberspace or Nicest Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. All of these books make great holiday gifts. So with Black Friday coming up, you can definitely pick up an ISIS book, an eSteam book, or John Haynes series book, or other books I produce like those in the Spinsterella trilogy, and they make great gifts for the young reader in your family.
Most certainly indeed. Well, y'all get that. That is a early stocking stuffer just in time before Black Friday to purchase that book. And also, guys, you saw the trailer for my book. I always got to plug in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. I always play that beforehand because we will be releasing the book. It will be available soon for pre-order, and I'll be releasing the book very soon. Certainly, I would say in the next few weeks. So just keep an eye out for that. That is a must-read, especially in time for the holidays, and you get your winter reading on. But you get your understanding of what's going on in this country, where we have trial by media, trial by social media, also to be exact, and what happened when these SJW warriors come out and ruin judicial prudence, and just the corruption that we're faced with in our criminal justice system. So you guys will pick up The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. That's a must read. Shawn has actually read the book and he loves it. So
that's absolutely fantastic book.
It is. So I got about 73 more books to go before I tie Shawn. Shawn has what, 75?
Yeah, past 75. It's probably like up to almost 80 now.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, up to 80 books that this man has written. That your wrist don't hurt?
No.
You don't have carpal tunnel syndrome?
No.
No? Okay. It's just me. Well, anyway, guys, I'd be appreciative if you go. I'll let everybody know the next time we do the live stream when it'll be available and how soon you can go and pre-order it. So that'll be great. So let's go ahead, Shawn. Let's get started, shall we, about some of the topics that we have going on today. Some breaking news tragedy that happened out in Memphis. We have rapper Young Dolph, 36 years old, who was killed outside of Makedia's cookie shop. He was gunned down, according to authorities, by two individuals. They actually do not have the pictures of the individuals, but they do have some shots of the shooting that took place on yesterday. Here's actually some image from Fox 13 on Fox 13 out in Memphis. That's Young Dolph there. So let me know if you all can hear. I don't think you can. I don't know why. Hold on a second. There should be audio with this. Why is it not there? All right.
Young Dolph, gunned down in his own community. A Memphis legend, a rap star. Paper Route Empire music label CEO.
The 36-year-old was killed while ordering cookies from Makita's Butter Cookies. Or Makita's, I'm sorry, Makita's Butter Cookies. That's off Airways Boulevard. The owner of Makita's Butter Cookies telling Fox 13 that Young Dolph was inside the bakery when someone drove up, fired the shots, fatally wounding the rapper. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Daryl Green.
I'm Merle Purvis. It is a day that many of us will never forget. Tonight, there is a plea for peace and calm across the city.
Around 12:30 this afternoon, we learned that Memphis rapper Young Dolph was shot and killed outside of a local bakery.
A lot of people are full of emotion right now.
That's a father, that's a brother, that's a son, that's a nephew. Other than being a superstar, that's somebody's child right there.
This is what remains of a tragic day in the city of Memphis. We were the first to show you the close-up of this scene at Makita's Butter Cookie, shattered glass, bullet holes, and crime scene tape.
We have a team of reporters covering this horrific act of violence.
Okay, now these are some shots from the security footage that was shown. You can see two assailants right there. One who's apparently holding a AK-47, a chopper, and you got another individual holding what appears to be a handgun that opened fire outside of Makita's butter cookie shop there. And I think we have some more footage here that we'll show, but 36 years old, the father and husband of two. This is something he posted actually 1 week ago. So this was a week ago.
Come back around there. What you got? Chocolate chip, don't hide. Just for you. Appreciate you, baby.
That must have been the owner talking to him. But he was it says here the Memphis rap legend was no stranger to the bakery. A week before being shot to death, Young Dolph was there spreading love and promoting the business. His camouflage Corvette sat in the parking lot of the bakery when Fox 13 crews arrived. Hours later, it was towed. Video of the car went viral on TikTok and was taken by police. Hundreds of people in the comments asking for answers. And this is outside there. You can see the Twitter collage there, and we have here some more video footage. So that's his car. So this is his car here. And I take it those are the assailants. That looks like the vehicle that they sped into shortly after the shooting.
Solomon tonight.
Kayla, police say they are at that location for precautionary measures.
That's right, Merle and Daryl. As you mentioned, it is strictly for precautionary measures, and we've been out here since about 6:30 tonight. The focus is that restaurant, Privé restaurant that you mentioned just before you talked to me. Now, as you mentioned, it is a restaurant that's owned by Yo Gotti, and we're told his family runs it according to the Facebook page for the restaurant. Now, since we've been out here at 6:30, there have been people driving by just to see why the cops are here. There were some rumors circulating on social media earlier today saying that the restaurant was shot up. I'm here to say that those rumors are not true. There's no indication that any shots were fired. We did also confirm that with Memphis police. Now, as a factor of that, some of the other shopping centers here also closed. So this Ross Dress for Less that you see over here, there's also a GNC and Nicole Beauty and Wigs. They were advised by Memphis police to also close early, just out of a safety precaution. Now, we don't know how late the Memphis police will be out here tonight, but we can tell you that there are still about 3 cop cars here, and there's about 4 officers on scene total. Reporting live from Memphis, Kayla Solomon, Fox 13 News.
All right. Thank you, Kayla, for the update.
So Young Gotti, my understanding, had some type of beef, apparently, allegedly, with Young Dolph. I don't know how true that is. But you know, rappers beefing all the time. It's interesting, man. In 2021, I'm just looking at this. You have had a lot of rappers pass away, some by natural causes like Biz Markie, Prince Markie D, DMX, and others, apparently. But some others who were shot, like Baby CEO. You have Kesey, who was shot and killed. Gonzo, who was shot at the age of 45. Yeah, young Kesey, who was shot at the age of 20. And now you got young Dolph. I don't know. Honestly, I can't tell you what his hits were. I don't listen to. Is he a mumble? Young Dolph was a mumble rapper. I'm not sure. Again, my heart still goes out to him because this is a brother, this is a son, this is a father, this is a husband, and nobody deserves that to be gunned down and killed, especially at that uh, young of an age. 36 is way too young. And this brother, from what they told me, he was very active in the community, though. Shawn, he passed
Yeah.
turkeys on Thanksgiving. I believe he was going to do it again this Thanksgiving. He does it at St. James Missionary Baptist Church. He also donated money to his high school, Hamilton High. So he was very active in the community. He wasn't somebody that made money and left the hood. He actually went back, apparently.
What do you think
Here's some
this is
more
going to grow
footage.
into right
This is gonna grow into something even more. This is not the end.
Wow.
This is not the end.
Wow.
This is gonna cause a slew of retaliations because that was for nothing. That's a father, that's a brother, that's a son, that's a nephew. Other than being a superstar, that's somebody's child right there. That's somebody's nephew right there. That's somebody's father right there.
And you hear right there, that's the same message everyone else has been basically spreading.
Yeah. So some of the rap Young Dolph's hits included "Get Paid" or "Got Paid." His debut album was in 2016. He actually had the album called "King of Memphis," which peaked at number 49 on the Billboard Top 100 200 chart. He was featured on OT Genesis hit single "Cut It," which peaked at number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100. So he has two children, Trey Thornton and Aria Ella Thornton. His real name is Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. Of course, it's not pleasant to have a name like Adolf, but young Dolph, still 36 years old. It's a tragedy to have brother his life cut short this early, and a promising career coming to an end. But also a husband and father who is no longer there for his children. That's the big downside from this. Forget the hip hop and albums and songs and stuff. This was a father. This was somebody's husband. So feel for him here, Shawn.
Yeah, I do feel for him, and I'm very sorry to hear about the passing of young Dolph. My condolences go out to the family of young Dolph. I mean, we did, like everybody has said, somebody lost a father, a mother lost a son, children lost their father, and a woman lost her husband. So there's a lot of loss here. And what's really sad about this whole situation is that it seems like it was really a pointless reason to take this man's life. If it's all based on some sort of beef over hip hop,
Yeah.
it's really a trivial matter. I mean, if you're a rapper and you have an opinion and you disagree with another rapper, you should just keep it out of getting so personal. That's always been a problem with this modern rap game. I mean, I remember when I was a kid and there were rappers and they would have their little beefs, and it was usually about the lyrics and the music, and it never really got personal. I mean, over the last 30 years, we've had this whole thing with these rappers getting personal, and that's something that really needs to stop. Because if it's about your lyrics and your wordplay, that's one thing. I mean, keep it in the records, but don't take it out on the street. And what's really sad here is that young Dolph, like the rapper who came before him, I forget what his name was. He was from the West Coast, who was trying to help out in the black community. I mean, he was another one who was trying to do what was right. And these brothers always wind up losing their lives because of dysfunctional people in the street. And these dysfunctional people in the street prove a point that was written in literature that you can't go home again. I mean, and you can't go home because sadly in the black community, you've got a lot of crabs in the barrel. And a lot of these guys get jealous of your success and they look for a reason to take your life. And that is what is so sad about things is that these brothers try to stay in the community to help other brothers and sisters. But instead of them getting people to stand up and stand with them, after they pass, what people do is go back to the same old dysfunction and the chaos continues to ensue. So that's the real sad part about the passing of your young Dolph is that we lost another guy who was trying to help out in his community. And that's the whole thing that's really sad about this whole situation is you had a positive brother trying to do the right thing, but sadly we've got others who still think to go into these rap beefs and these personal stuff. If that's the case, and they become crabs in a barrel who tear another black man down as they're trying to build in their community. And when they tear those black men down, they tear down their own opportunities and tear down their own chances as they take the life of a son, take the life of a husband, and take the life of a father.
And this whole thing, I mean, look, I remember back in the day, the East Coast, West Coast beef, that was over 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And it seems like the roots of that are still present. We got rappers that have beef. I mean, people have had beef before, as you know, Sean, but people usually handled it on the mic. It got out
Yeah.
of hand now where you got
Yeah.
to kill somebody. And although truth be told, my opinion, I remember with Tupac and Biggie, I thought that that whole thing with Tupac and Biggie, there was more to it than just gangsters. I always thought that the government had or local in government. I'm speaking about police. I'm speaking about law enforcement officials, and yes, even to an extent, the FBI, because I've heard that before, having a role in these murders, or at least a rogue element of that. But it's still we still see this all the time, Sean.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I mean, it's the days of LL Cool J versus Cool Mo D. Now, they had a rap beef for many years, and they would keep their beefs on the mic. It would never get personal. And as related to going out in the street and fighting each other, I mean, usually your Cool Mo D and your LL Cool J, they just had their beef on the mic and they let their lyrics speak for themselves. That's how rappers used to solve their issues back in the day. But today's rappers, ever since the whole East Coast, West Coast marketing stunt, which turned into a whole personal thing, because originally it wasn't just a marketing stunt about lyrics, but then people turned it into something more. And ever since then, it's become something that's been used to murder black men. That's all it is. It's been turned into is it's been weaponized and used to lead to the murders of black men, especially those black men like your Nipsey Hussle, I finally remembered his name, and your guys like your Young Dolph, the guys who want to help out in the community. They're the ones who usually wind up tragically losing their lives, and all the momentum that they take to try to help out in the community winds up getting destroyed because some people become crabs in a barrel because they take the whole beefs in the whole entertainment industry way too seriously.
yeah. What do you? I mean, honestly, like I said, I don't know. I didn't even know the brothers' work until just reading some of his album, his solo album his debut album was, as I said, Young Dolph, King of Memphis. He had songs like "Get Paid," "On My Way," which were hits. He wrote every song on his album as well. Facts, Royalty, yeah.
Yeah.
So may he rest in peace, and hopefully they'll catch the guys. But it's this looked like it was a gang style hit, from my opinion.
It could have been.
It could have been. They were covering up their faces too. They were smart enough to do that. But I saw a picture where they took a picture of the vehicle, but who knows that vehicle? Hope if they find it, hopefully they find it intact. They weren't stupid enough. They weren't smart enough to do anything to it. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, rest in peace, young Dolph. Young Dolph dead at the age of 36 years old. Tragic.
Very young man that sadly lost his life.
I'm 35, so I'm practically a little younger than him. Yeah. Oh man. Well, on to some other news, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to share this now. Hold on one second. Of course. So a couple of things happened this week. Of course, we've been watching. If you see right there, we've got Ralph Wiggum, who's on trial for his life there. Day 3 of jury deliberations in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Journalist Scoop slammed and MSNBC was barred from the courtroom. Now, this is, of course, Inside Edition, so let me just put up the copyright disclaimer. Fair use of 1976, Fair Use Act of 1976 allows for copyrighted images and videos to be played for purposes of education, news, and commentary, as well as other uses. We'll go ahead and play this video. Now, this happened outside the courtroom on yesterday. I'm going to tell you what happened today. But yesterday, there was a man named Maserati Mike who was walking outside of the courthouse armed with an AR-15, just like Kyle Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse, the now 18-year-old who claims he shot 2 people in self-defense during civil unrest last summer. And as the jury does its work, some tense moments outside the courthouse. Les Trent in Kenosha.
An extraordinary sight. A man outside the Rittenhouse trial carrying an AR-15 rifle, just like the defendant did the night of the Kenosha riots. Sheriff's deputies had a serious word with him.
They're now telling him that he cannot protest with this rifle, and they are leading him away to get his information. What's your name, sir?
Maserati Mike.
I'm sorry?
Maserati Mike.
Maserati Mike. True to his name, Maserati Mike got into his Maserati and left.
One worry today, are the jurors deliberating inside the courtroom feeling intimidated by both supporters of Rittenhouse
He done nothing wrong but defend himself.
and those calling for a guilty verdict?
What impact might such protests have on the jury? Are they hearing this? That's anybody's guess.
As the jury deliberates here at the Kenosha County Courthouse, some 500 National Guard troops are on standby. The big fear is a repeat of the violence that racked this city last year in the wake of the police shooting of Jacob Blake.
This was a family business here.
Yeah, Scott Carpenter owned an office supply store at this very spot. It was burned to the ground.
What you're looking at here is B&L office furniture on fire.
I think we're a little bit calmer this time. Praying that we learned our lesson. Burning down our town is not the answer. But still a little bit of uneasiness. You're not exactly sure what's going to happen here.
Lena Postachow's floral shop suffered $10,000 in damage.
You just don't want that to happen again. Do I think it's going to? No, I don't. I'm hoping cooler minds prevail on that one.
Outside court today, awaiting the jury's decision, we found Jacob Blake's uncle, Justin.
How is your nephew doing?
Little Jake's doing great. He said, I'm going to walk by next summer.
Today, out of the presence of the jury, Judge Bruce Schrader defended letting Rittenhouse pick the jurors, which some have likened to bingo.
I'm now reading about how bizarre and unusual it was to have the defendant pick the numbers out of the tumbler yesterday.
He says that's been standard practice in his court for 20 years.
Judge Schrader says his clerk used to select the jurors by lot, but he began letting defendants do the job when the lone black juror in a trial involving a black defendant was randomly eliminated from the jury.
Now, that's just one thing. Now, of course, this judge has been facing a lot of criticism over the way he has conducted the trial, accusations of bias. And one thing that has come up, and this was even reported on Revolt, and I'm going to put it on Tariq Nasheed. They criticized him for this remark that he made in the courtroom. Although it is edited, but this was played during
When
deliberations.
the government official drew the name out of the tumbler. It was the only black. There was nothing with it. It was all okay. But what do they talk about? Optics nowadays. Is that the word for things? It was a bad optic, I thought. And when the government official drew the name out of the tumbler, it was the only black. There was nothing wrong with it. It was all okay. But what do they talk about? Optics nowadays? Is that the word for things? It was a bad optic, I thought.
So people were taking issue with him saying the black and only black when referring to a juror being removed from the trial. He was referring to that, but people took issue with that term. And then also this picture of him. Now, my understanding from this, he had came down from the bench to look at a video. The defense has moved for a mistrial. They've actually moved for two, based on the fact that one of the videos that they received was of poor quality or not the same video that was submitted to them in discovery. They said they got a different version of it. So as a jury deliberated, they were arguing with the judge for a mistrial. Also, I should show you all this as well. Some other stuff that happened. The judge has banned MSNBC from the courthouse. In fact, according to the judge's ruling, he banned MSNBC as one of the reporters was following the jury bus outside of court and banned them as a result of it. So we'll go to Forbes Breaking News to look into this decision. Or no, actually, we'll do Law and Crime Network. Excuse me.
The media have been asking questions. There's been conversation around this morning. We had asked the media coordinator to determine possible whereabouts of certain persons because we received a report this morning from the Kenosha Police Department that last evening, well, and let me just set this background here. The jury in this case is being transported from a different location in a bus with windows covered so that they don't have to look at aren't exposed to any signs by one side or another or interest in the case. And so I'm going to call it a sealed bus. And that's been done every day when they're brought here to this building. And last evening, a person who identified himself as James J. Morrison and who claimed that he was a producer with NBC News, employed for MSNBC, and under the supervision of a person, what's going on? Oh, okay. Under the supervision of someone named Irene Bayan in New York for MSNBC. The police, when they stopped him because he was following in a distance of about a block and went through a red light, pulled him over and inquired of him what was going on, and he gave that information and stated that he had been instructed by Ms. Bayan in New York to follow the jury bus. The matter is under further investigation at this point. And the media has asked questions about it. That's the latest I have. And he was ticketed for violating a traffic control signal. He's not here today from what I'm told. And I have instructed that no one from MSNBC News will be permitted in this building for the duration of this trial. This is a very serious matter, and I don't know what the ultimate truth of it is, but absolutely it would go without much thinking that someone who is following the jury bus, that is it's extremely serious matter, and will be referred to the proper authorities for further action. Thank you.
It was a video that shocked the nation. An unarmed black jogger, 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery, gunned down in broad daylight. The three men charged will now stand trial. For live gavel coverage of the trial, subscribe.
Okay. So that's some of the video. Yeah. So you saw the judge banned MSNBC from the courthouse for following the jury. A lot of stuff has been going on. We got that, and we got the Ahmaud Arbery trial. We got to get into that fiasco in a little bit. But one more video and one more topic I also wanted to share was that it was reported that a journalist outside of the courthouse was scoop slammed by one of the protesters here. Apparently, and I hate quoting Fox News, but this is a video out on one of the two protesters arrested outside the Kenosha courthouse. The man seen wearing an F. Kyle t-shirt as officers took him into custody is facing charges related to bail jumping, meaning he has and this is Fox News, of course, he has a prior criminal record. The jury in the trial for Kyle Rittenhouse is expected to enter a third day of their deliberation on Thursday. The suspect is 20-year-old Anthony Chacon, who has been charged with felony bail jumping, misdemeanor bail jumping, battery, resisting, and disorderly conduct. Sergeant David Wright, a spokesperson for the Kenosha Sheriff's Department, confirmed to Fox News Digital. This is actually video footage of the fight here, the altercation here I'm looking at. So I'll go ahead and play that for you all. And then we'll get comments from Shawn.
Why is this happening like this? Why are y'all doing this like this? What is happening? What's happening? I'm not coming back. Somebody pushing me. How can I stop a crowd of people? Why are y'all throwing her down like that? That's a woman. Why are y'all slamming her down like that? You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong. They didn't slam this girl down like that, man. You guys are wrong. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. That's your man. That's your man. That's why we trying to get your ass on. Just to get your shot, you are pushing people. They are not hiring you to do that. That's not Christ. Don't touch me. Don't ever touch me. Y'all back up, please. Please. Y'all damn it. We need to see a show like that. Please. That. Come on, y'all back up.
I'm still trying to see the body slam. Hold on. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay, somebody got body slammed. Maybe there's a picture of it here. Okay, so this is. I think this is it. So Twitter actually is always going to have the uncensored version, but oh crap, they want you to watch something on. And the judge was criticizing the media as well outside of the courtroom. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna find it on. I'll find it on Twitter here. Let's see. The guy doesn't even look like a guy.
Nope.
Ugh. But okay, Sean, I'll just let you go ahead and take the floor on this one. What do you think with all that's going on here? What happened with uh, Rittenhouse and what's going on with the trial? It seems like this has just become a big circus.
Yeah, that's what I would say this whole trial of Kyle Rittenhouse has become. It's just become a big circus. I mean, it's even more of a farce of a trial than the O.J. Simpson trial was back in the 90s. I mean, basically, the judge has lost all control over his court, and he's not really leading anything. He's try to steer the case towards acquitting Kyle Rittenhouse, clearly showing bias, and he's lost all control over everything because for the media to get that close to a jury transport, that just really shows how much control has been lost. I mean, usually people respect the jury's space and they want to allow them to deliberate, but it looks like people are deliberately trying to do things to cause a mistrial so that your Kyle Rittenhouse can get a pass and a legal precedent can stand so that your beta males can go out here and continue participating in more homicides the same way George Zimmerman was able to get off for the murder of Trayvon Martin. So this is really all a farce to be able to get some chess moves on the board, and what they want to do is be able to get your Kyle Rittenhouse acquitted or get a mistrial at any cost so that this boy can never be held accountable for his criminal actions. And again, it just shows how dysfunctional America has become, that judicial matters cannot be handled in a court in a very professional manner. I mean, this whole situation has deteriorated, and it just is embarrassing to watch because here is supposed to be the nation that's all about getting evidence, facts, and supposed to be about these are the foundations of our republic. But our republic is looking really, it's a really embarrassing to look at it and see all of these people just going so crazy. I mean, you body slammed a reporter, and that's really a slap in the face to freedom of the press. And then again, you have people like MSNBC not looking at the facts of looking at the boundaries of a juror, because our jury is supposed to be protected from people going out here and trying to go out here and approach them. I mean, during jury deliberations, you're not supposed to go near the jury. That's what anybody knows, especially those in the press, because going near any juror can lead to a mistrial because now you have compromised the jury pool because now you're asking questions that lead to a complete violation of these jurors and their privacy. So I just see a lot of things going on here that make for a circus atmosphere, but that circus atmosphere is a smokescreen because what they really want to do is get this mistrial and be able to get Kyle Rittenhouse off and have this guy go out here where he will be a clear and present danger because, like George Zimmerman, this isn't the end for him. It's just a matter of time before he goes out here and wreaks havoc and does harm either to a woman through a domestic violence incident, or he goes out here and participates in some other type of shooting, because I personally believe he was going there to participate in a mass shooting because you do not need an AR-15 to protect somebody else's business, a business that already had insurance and did not need you to engage anyone. Most businesses have licensed security.
Here's the thing, too, Sean. What you're saying is correct about the insurance and so forth, but in the law, you cannot use deadly force to protect property.
No.
Deadly, it doesn't, even if someone is on your property, and it's messed up to say this, but if someone's on your property, they break into your car, you can't go outside and shoot them because they broke into your car. You can protect yourself. Now, let's say you do go outside, you stop, want to see somebody breaking in your car, and you stop them. And let's say they're reaching for something, you can't see it, and let's say I fire. Now, in those changing circumstances, given those circumstances, rather, you could make an argument for self-defense. Yes, you have a right to this because this is on your property. They're going on your property. You don't know what weapons they have. Things like that, I can see. I can't see what happened here with him and why he would come from out of city to go to Kenosha, Wisconsin from Antioch, Illinois. And his story did not make sense. But as a lawyer, I do believe he's going to get off just because I believe that the defense, and people can get mad at me if I want, but I think the defense did raise reasonable doubt. But most importantly, the prosecutors didn't do a great job either.
Yeah.
Thought he dropped the ball on some things, and their own witnesses did them in, especially the Greg Kuntz guy who admitted to pointing his gun at Rittenhouse. But once he admits that, and you admit pointing your gun at a person, and then he opens fire after you did that, well, that's self-defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole case is a farce, and basically they're trying to get him off. They're trying to either get a mistrial. That's what I think a lot of them are trying to do deliberately. But the whole case is this is a sad state for America because I haven't seen things this bad since the O.J. Simpson trial when I was in college.
Yeah. It's gotten real bad. And then we topped it off with everything that's going on in this next case. By the way, the second person that was arrested with this 20-year-old Anthony Chacon was also Shaquita Cornelius. She's facing charges of resisting disorderly conduct and possession of marijuana. Let me ask you something, Shawn. Are you concerned, though, about just thinking this, because a lot of people have said this, especially on the right, that this is an issue about whether self-defense gets challenged and gets removed by law. Do you see anything like that?
I don't see anything like that about self-defense because there wouldn't have been, Kyle Rittenhouse wouldn't have been in this situation had he not gone there. He really, as I see it, wasn't looking to defend himself. I mean, he created this situation. So I don't see it as a thing as related to self-defense. I mean, when I look at it, if you come to another person's city with a loaded firearm, you're not going there to protect property. You're going there looking to cause trouble. I mean, as somebody who has studied these type of guys for my book, The Man Crisis, and studied numerous mass shootings, that's what I believe Kyle Rittenhouse was planning to do. And he wanted to use the cover of those riots to be able to participate in a mass shooting type scenario. So I don't think this has anything to do with self-defense. I think what happened was he was looking for black people, but what happened was he ran into white leftists, and as a result, this is what led to the situation exploding because clearly this boy was he was really a complete mess, and he had some really twisted ideas about going out here and protecting things. He didn't understand that any guy who was out here who wants to be a part of law enforcement follows the law. They don't go out here and take the law into their own hands. So his problem was from minute one, him going to that whole riot, and him going to that riot, he wouldn't have been in trouble had he not gone there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he went there looking for trouble, and he found it. He did, but I just understand from a legal perspective too, the fact that he went to Illinois, to Kenosha, Wisconsin from Illinois. Wow, that was bad enough. You know, you look at, I guess, his intent, and the judge was, of course, not letting certain stuff in that I know for a fact that, for instance, about the video of him saying he could wish he could just shoot a bunch of looters. I know from a fact that the judge would not. I think if it were a black defendant, he would be more lenient with the prosecution and letting that in. I just have a sneaking suspicion he would have done that. And we see the argument of self-defense not being applied equally in different cases. Of course, it's different circumstances. You contrast this with what's going on in the Ahmaud Arbery case. But I just know from the law that he's likely to get off. I'm surprised the mistrial wasn't granted, honestly. And it's day 3 of deliberations. If they don't deliberate by Friday, just imagine it may be a possibility it could be a hung jury. You know, but let us get into some other news. Of course, the other trial we're talking about now, that judge in the Rittenhouse case is Bruce Schroeder, and the judge in this case with Ahmaud Arbery is Timothy Wamsley. Now, Shawn, you compare and contrast those two judges. I find that Judge Walmsley has actually been very calm and professional in his manner and style in handling the proceedings. I don't know if anybody has watched what's been going on, but earlier today, of course, it was cross-examination for the prosecution of Travis McMichael, who took the stand on yesterday. And he was under cross-examination, brilliant cross-examination. The prosecutor actually got him to admit that Ahmaud Arbery was not a threat. So I'm going to play that for you all. He recounts that he was just running and running. Let me go ahead and play that right now on this cross-examination. Then I'm going to show you some other footage because the defense attorney, Kevin Goff, again keeps raising this issue about the protesters outside the courtroom and also the fact that Martin Luther King III was present in the courtroom. Not that anybody, I don't think, listens to Martin Luther King III anyway. It's not his dad. But this is
Lots
what
to
they're
talk
doing.
about tonight, starting with the trial of three men charged in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. CNN's Martin Savage joins us now from Brunswick, Georgia. Martin?
Now, something else that did happen was that Travis McMichael, lawyer, did not want the state to ask about the alleged racial slur that he uttered over Ahmaud Arbery. Remember, it was reported by the GBI, the officer investigator, who said that William Rodney Bryan actually overheard Travis McMichael call Ahmaud Arbery after killing him a fucking nigger. The judge wouldn't, they did not allow, or were trying not to allow that in. And I don't believe it did come in. But, and they wanted to ask for a mistrial after the prosecutor asked the question from the witness. I'm trying to actually play the video, and it's coming. I don't know where it is. I hope they didn't take it down. But CNN. Okay, so here it is. It's 9 minutes.
At the end of Burford, you and your dad
It's
both got
CNN,
a pickup truck,
unfortunately,
correct?
but
When
we'll
he
deal
turned
with it.
and started running down Burford when he was away, when he was not a threat. If he wanted to be a threat and he was going past that, yeah, I got out of the truck. Yes, ma'am. When he turned and ran, running away is when I got out of the vehicle.
Why in the world would Mr. Arbery be a threat to you?
Because of when I asked him what was going on and recognized that it was the guy that I saw on the 11th and Mr. Albenzi pointing, everything going down, and realized that it is him. And then how he reacted when I shined the lights on him on the 11th. He acted like he did not want to be. He was obviously caught sneaking through the front yard. He was obviously where he was supposed to be, where he hasn't been several times, and then he reaches into his pants and he has a gun, and I took that as a threatening gesture.
Right there. Let me just
Also
stop
in
and
the
make
house.
a comment.
Now it's the same guy
Oh.
on the 23rd that I've just pulled up.
Hold on. Now you notice he said he saw this guy who had no right to be back at that place. Remember, he just said that he had no right to be there. You heard him say that? Okay, here's the question. Who in the blue hell is he to tell anybody where they can and can't belong? How do you know Ahmaud Arbery didn't have a right to be there? What if he had talked to the owner of that site, Larry English, about coming and working on the property, or just going to take a view? Even if he didn't, you had countless other people, as we saw, as the prosecutors have brilliantly pointed out, as has been shown in footage that has been leaked, security camera footage from that place, that Arbery was not the only visitor to that construction site. Many people visit sites that are being constructed, homes that are being constructed, because they want to admire how the house is coming along, and probably they may want their house to look like this if they want to be a future builder. That's why they do that. Sadly, this is one of those things. They say curiosity killed. No, white supremacy killed.
Yeah, definitely white supremacy did kill Ahmaud Arbery, I believe. And the whole argument about the people coming to the gallery, that should not be a focus of the whole case. I mean, I think that that's a straw man argument that your defense is making, because usually when a juror is in the case, they're not focused on the gallery. They're focused on the prosecution and their argument to prove their case. Usually nobody really pays attention to who was in the gallery, whether it's Martin Luther King 3, Al Sharpton, or whoever's in the background, because you can't even really see them going from the side of the jury. Usually you're busy focused on the evidence and what's presented to you. So when I look at this whole Ahmaud Arbery case, I do see that the judge is being a lot more professional, and we're seeing a lot more evidence being presented in a more professional fashion, and we're seeing facts and arguments being presented to the jury that presents the evidence directly to them.
Yeah, let's finish playing this video, and then I got to show a couple other videos, Sean.
All right.
I'm going to tie it
Father
all
was
in.
correct. People pointing down the road, the same scene that this happened 12 days prior. That yes, there was a possibility that he may be armed with that gesture, but he didn't show me that, and he started running down the road. I was no longer under a threat if there was to be one, so I got out of the vehicle after my father got out of the vehicle to see what was going on and watch him.
So when you first pulled up to him, very first time, you confirmed it was him, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You testified under oath to this jury that I'm not going to chase or investigate someone who is armed, right?
That's correct.
And yet you want this jury to believe now that he was a threat to you, okay, and that you perceived him as a threat, yet you continued to chase him down Burford.
I didn't know if he was a threat or not. He never reached in his pockets, and I wanted to see what was happening. I figured I could talk to him at this point, or getting up to him on the second point.
Let me just say this too. As a lawyer, this is brilliant cross-examination. She's picking him apart, literally just undermining everything he has said previously when his defense attorney was asking him the same questions, trying to prove his innocence. And also what he testified earlier to, he testified that he was trained not only in the military as a member of the Coast Guard, but also as a law enforcement officer. Now, one thing that I do know that law enforcement officers do not do is they do not brandish and pull their weapons out, and yet alone let anyone try to take them unless needed. And if they do not view a threat, they don't get out the car with a shotgun, which is what he did. Now, Ahmaud Arbery, I'm going to play to finish the video, but he says, and I believe you'll hear it in here, that Ahmaud Arbery wouldn't stop. Now, let's look at this, Sean. If you've seen his vehicle, you've seen the car earlier in the video that I just played previously.
Yeah.
That was not a police car. That was a pickup truck, correct?
Yes.
It did not have flashing lights, or intercom or anything in which to stop any individual, correct?
Yes.
He's not wearing we didn't see him wearing a police uniform, correct?
Correct.
There's not a vehicle. So does Ahmaud Arbery have any right to talk to him, or is he required to talk to him if you're trying to stop him?
No, he doesn't have to talk to them at all. They're not law enforcement.
And even if they're former law enforcement, they're not current law enforcement.
No.
And the bottom line is, if you saw a white boy while you're jogging and you see him and his father armed with guns and you're being chased by pickup trucks, I don't think you would want to stop either.
No, you definitely wouldn't. Because they would look like people looking to attack you. They look like a bunch of attackers. They're not law enforcement. They have no authorization by the state. They're not under any jurisdiction. So this is not somebody you would want to stop for. And if they're carrying loaded firearms, you definitely don't want to stop for them.
But hadn't at this point he demonstrated not once, not twice, but 3 times he did not want to talk to you?
Which when I'm at the stop, when I stopped the birth.
Right, because you pulled up to him once, he doesn't want to talk to you. You back up He doesn't want to talk to you. You pull down Burford, your dad's yelling, cut him off, cut him off. And all of a sudden, he runs back, he doesn't want to talk to you. That's 3 times he's demonstrated to you that he does not want to talk to you, correct?
Yes,
And he's also demonstrated he's no threat to you. He hasn't pulled out a gun.
that's correct.
He hasn't said one word to you.
He has not.
He's not threatened you in any way, verbally or physically.
No, ma'am.
No knives.
No knives.
All right. He's not swearing at you, using profanity or anything like that, is he?
Didn't talk.
So at this point, you get out of the truck, correct?
That's correct.
You get out with your shotgun.
No, I got out when my father got out to get in the back, and then my shotgun slipped and was in the floorboard where my feet were all over it. Once I'm out of the vehicle, it was safe to, I'm not going to reach out. Wasn't going to grab it while Mr. Arbery was right there. There's no reason for it. He's run off. I'm on the side of the truck. So at that point, I grabbed the shotgun out of the floorboard and put it back on the seat.
Your dad gets out with his .357 Magnum, correct?
I didn't know if he had it on him or not. I knew he had it, but I didn't see it. He didn't have it in his hand.
So he didn't have it in his hand as he ran about 10 yards down the road after Mr. Arbery.
He didn't run down the road after Mr. Arbery.
You have a private citizen here making judgments about whether Arbery was a threat. Was he armed? Had he committed a crime? Was there reasonable suspicion or probable cause? I mean, all those things being laid on that person, and that's what the prosecutor seemed to be digging down on. Ann Bremner, one moment that struck out to me just a couple moments ago, she said, the prosecutor, who is Linda Dunikowski to Travis McMichael, at this point, Arbery was pinned between the 2 vehicles. Right, that at one of the points right before the shooting took place. How essential is that detail to you there in terms of describing, over time, the cornering, right, of Arbery?
Right, and we had testimony in this case that he was cornered like a rat. The question in this case is, are these people acting as the law? Is vigilantes acting with some kind of authority under law enforcement on this basically citizen's arrest statute that exists at the time? Are they breaking the law by killing Arbery and not acting in self-defense, or are they above the law, which they're not? We know nobody is. So when you look at whether or not they falsely imprisoned Arbery, that's the felony for felony murder. The question is whether or not they could lawfully do that under the citizen's arrest statute. And guess what? Arbery didn't commit a felony. He didn't take anything from a building. He didn't intend to commit a crime within a building, within the meaning of the felony burglary statute. So that's the problem. I mean, it's kind of a house of cards, a fallacy that they're trying to say, we were justified legally, we were acting as the law, and then therefore, when we pinned him, we were trying to hold him legally, and then when we used force, we were in a place we had a right to be, and we didn't provoke a use of force unlawfully. We were doing the right thing, therefore we acted in self-defense. The state has to disprove that beyond a reasonable doubt, and there should be a defense verdict.
And just to pick up too on something that you touched on earlier, Sarah, one of the things that the prosecutor was noting, she repeats, so 3 times Ahmaud Arbery demonstrated he didn't want to talk, that he wasn't threatening in any way, verbally or physically. He agrees, Travis McMichael agrees, he didn't want to talk. She was asking him at the time about, whether he felt threatened, and he said, no, there was no reason for it. And also talked about his gun falling out of his truck. He put it back because he felt there was no reason for it at the time, that the gun had just sort of fallen while he was driving, and he didn't want to pick it up while he was driving because that wouldn't be safe. Those specific moments, how is that laying the groundwork for, if this is obviously what she wants to do, dismantling that claim of self-defense and how Travis McMichael was feeling in those moments?
Done and done, Erica, right? Because if he didn't feel a threat, if he didn't believe that Arbery had a gun, if he was running away and just didn't even want to talk to him, how is he a threat? How is that an imminent threat of great bodily injury or death to justify self-defense? And also, to Ann's point, you have to have that felony burglary, and to the criticism that was expressed about the DA yesterday, I think she did a great job yesterday too, because she presented video evidence of Arbery being at this unoccupied home under construction, but that he never broke in, which is an element of burglary, and that he never committed a felony. He didn't steal anything. He didn't do anything while he was on this premise. It's unclear why he was going there. It's undisputed that he was going there, but there is no underlying felony to justify a citizen's arrest. So like Ann said, these guys are they taking it upon themselves, maybe because he was a Coast Guard back in the day, that, you know, he gets to investigate, he gets to pin down people to speak to him because he's fishing around to see what's going on in the neighborhood. That is not justification, and this is not self-defense.
And as folks watch this, there are the things that seem right or acceptable to people. Then there's the law, as it was in Georgia at the time, and there was at the time, though it's since been repealed or largely repealed, a law that allows for citizens' arrest. From a legal standpoint, how does that change the standard for a private citizen determining probable cause, but also a private citizen making a reasonable judgment about self-defense? Does it change it, and how significantly in your view?
Well, basically, it's the underpinning of the defense is basically saying we were acting lawfully, but the problem is there has to be a reasonable and probable basis that there's a felony committed, or that they saw it, that it was committed in their presence, for them to make a citizen's arrest. That gives them the justification, basically, to say this is not false imprisonment. We didn't commit felony murder in the course of a felony false imprisonment. So they're trying to get rid of that charge. But then when they get to the situation of pinning Aubrey and then being involved with having a weapon that they say he grabbed, they can't do that unless they were acting lawfully. And on these facts, it's apparent that they weren't. And the prosecutor is doing a nice job. You know, one thing with cross-examination, you want to be brief, be brilliant, be seated. I think she needs to wrap it up because I think she's done well with him. And his story, at least, I think at this point, is not credible.
Yes, it is not. So that was the video. Now let me take you all to channel 11. This happened today. A witness spoke, was testifying, and a prosecutor, I believe, got a chance to cross-examine and ask her a question that they argued was inflammatory.
Okay, I just have a couple questions for you. Were you personally the victim of any crime?
Not in over 30 years.
In over 30 years, and you were living in Satilla Shores for how long?
Since 1976.
Okay, so since then, you're not personally a victim of any crime, right?
Well, since 1976, I was, but it's been more than 30 years ago
Okay.
that I was a victim of any crime.
Do you believe that someone stealing is deserving of death penalty, Mr. President?
Relevant, Your Honor.
I was going to question that.
We've got a motion made at this point. I mean,
That's all I have for Ms. Cook.
thank you. Go ahead and sit.
So they made a motion.
Thank you.
And that was the assistant ADA. It was a black woman that was asking the question. She asked her, do you think stealing is a death sentence, deserving of death, the death penalty? The lawyers objected and called it, and basically wanted to get a mistrial because it was asked in front of the jury. But I'm going to play all of it so you can hear what happened and what they argued over.
She's not. Thank you very much. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get breaking point for lunch. We will let's recess for an hour. We'll plan to get back to the evidence at 12:45. Again, during the recess, do not discuss this case amongst yourselves. Enjoy your lunch. We'll see you in an hour. Thank you.
All right, for the jury.
Your Honor, I have a motion. Thank you. I would ask the court on behalf of Greg McMichael that the jury be brought back in after lunch
that in front of the jury, Ms. Olivier be admonished or asking a question that she knew or certainly ought to have known was impermissible, as was clear by the fact that she make no attempt to defend it. And number two, that the jury be instructed to disregard that question and whatever feelings it might have made them have. And I will state for the record, because we don't have daily reports coming out, that the question was, do you believe that someone stealing is deserving of the death penalty? It's inappropriate, it's incendiary, it's prejudicial, it's improper, and we ask that she be sanctioned in front of the jury for having done that in any case, but in such a serious case.
We join.
Your Honor, I join in that motion, and if I can have the lunch recess to confer with counsel without waiving the issue, I don't understand why we're not moving for, why there wasn't a motion for a mistrial. I don't know how you cure that, but given all the time that we've put into this trial, and I'm talking about everybody in the judicial system, before making that motion, if the court will allow me, I'd like to have the lunch break to confer. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. That's not the appropriate thing to ask for. But if I have to do it now or lose it, then I'm going to move for a mistrial.
How about this? You've reserved it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, stay before we recess.
Just for the record that juror 12 paid attention fully, was totally engaged, and absolutely no issues with juror 12 during this period.
Watching juror 12, and that accurately reflects the court's observations of juror number 12 also during the
Your Honor, I'm having trouble hearing you.
that accurately reflects the court's observations of juror number 12 during the second half of the morning's proceedings. All right, we are in recess for an hour. I will take the matter under advisement. At some point, I would like to hear from the state on that question. Maybe we'll do it when we come back after lunch.
Without pushing the court, I would ask that if the court wishes to hear from the state, from the prosecutor who made that remark, that she be asked to respond to it now, just as we needed to provide this request at the moment that it happened and contemporaneous with the error.
Fair enough. Anything from the state?
Your Honor, I'm not sure what you're asking.
That the question, what do you believe someone who steals is subject to the death penalty?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe it was an appropriate question for Ms. Kofer, given that I had her on cross-examination. I thought it was an appropriate question.
Matters under advisement. We are in recess.
Now, they did not grant the mistrial, obviously. The judge denied it, although he admonished the state for that comment, and for that question, rather. And you got to keep in mind, the defense has been putting on witnesses. They've been putting on witnesses basically to talking about how they had all of this crime in this area. They were concerned. And according to even reports, the accounts that they were saying were minimal. Even McMichael was saying he was going off what his mom had said. He didn't actually check the data from the state or anything like that, or the police department about the reports, and some of them have been false. And then they also tried earlier to bring in Ahmaud Arbery's mental health and probation record. That was in. They also moved that made a request that Travis McMichael's testimony should not allow for it to be used as the case continues on November 18th, which I don't see how any judge would grant that. He's testified. He had an opportunity to actually not take the stand, because as we've talked about before, your Fifth Amendment right to self-incrimination still applies. Yeah, she's a cute sister, Gap and all. That's right, Darius. So I did want to just play this video right quick. I know we've been playing just videos left and right, but the pastors that showed up outside at the courthouse at this rally in Brunswick, Georgia, as this trial has been going on. In response to Kevin Goff's comments last week, they organized and actually held a rally outside the courthouse. We'll go ahead and play that, and then that'll be it. We'll have Shawn comment.
The vigil, coming as one of the defense attorneys, has asked the judge numerous times to not allow prominent Black pastors from coming inside the courtroom unless they can prove they're the Arbery family's pastors. Reverends Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson have made notable appearances consoling Arbery's family during the trial. Joe Ripley is here now with more on the pastors from Metro Atlanta who drove to Brunswick to show their support today. Joe?
Yeah, earlier today we spoke with a pastor from Decatur who woke up early this morning to drive down to Brunswick. Organizers of this prayer vigil did not want to call this a rally or protest and said they wanted to put more of the focus on a wall of prayer to support Ahmaud Arbery's family.
God of our weary years.
Nearly 500 faith leaders from across the country united in prayer, calling for justice outside the Glenn County Courthouse. The massive demonstration comes 1 week after Kevin Goff, defense attorney for William Roddy Bryan, said this in court.
If their pastor's Al Sharpton right now, that's fine, but then that's it. We don't want any more Black pastors coming in here.
What Kevin Goff implied was that their mere presence would seek to be intimidating to the jurors. I don't know what the jurors saw as they were coming into the courtroom or not, but these jurors are also adults who can make decisions on their own.
And no lawyer can lock us out. But when he called himself insulted one, he insulted all of us.
Reverend Ralph Thompson from Decatur woke up early this morning and rode down to Brunswick with a busload of pastors.
It lets me know that I am never siloed, I am never alone. My brothers and sisters from all walks of life and all faiths are here to make a point, and that point is we will not, cannot, must not tolerate injustice.
Ahmaud Arbery's parents and sisters spoke to the crowd, grateful for their support during the trial.
My heart is full of just joy in the midst of this broken heart. Just thank you guys, and I love you all.
Other guests included Reverend Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King III, and attorneys Ben Crump and Lee Merritt.
We're here to uplift this community. We don't want to interfere with their case. We're not even here to discuss the case. We're here to invoke the spirit of the living God, who is the final arbiter of justice.
A march followed to a mural depicting Arbery, then to the neighborhood where he lost his life. And in response to Goff's remarks last week, the judge said he would not exclude anyone from the public from coming inside.
Should have been censured for the remarks.
Okay.
Shit, you're going to censure a sister for that question. He should be censored for actually saying that in a courtroom, saying he didn't want Black pastors inside the courtroom. He's brought up race. He brought it up. And these Black pastors, let me just say this too. I respect people's First Amendment rights, and I appreciate, a rally and so forth to bring attention, but I'm sick of people going on a Black, even myself to a degree, going on a Black pastors, because too many of them have fucking sold us out down the road for the last 100 years. I'm being real, especially the last 50 plus years, that after Dr. King's death, nobody really took up the mantle and actually pushed for what the next job was, which was reparations, financial stability. That's the thing. If you had money, you know this, Shawn. If you have money, you can go and travel wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. It's money. And no, it's not. You're right, Darren. It's not all the pastors. I'm not talking about every Black pastor. No. That's not. I don't want anybody to think that. But I'm just speaking in general. Everybody goes to the fucking pastor. I'm sorry. Hold on. Everybody goes to these pastors, and some of them don't do shit. We don't have the same energy. I want this same energy, but forget talking about the voting rights, voting and all of this crap. I want some money, because we voting here in New Orleans, and it ain't gonna change a damn thing. I see we got people in the runoffs who should have been out. The incumbents that we have, that people are running. People just voted because that's TD. You know, that's my mayor. That's all I got. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. You know, Sean, you know that's what I do, Sean.
Yeah.
Everybody's just voting because it's a goddamn popularity. Sorry, Lord. It's a damn popularity contest. I'm sick of it. Nobody is smart. But I'm going to give credit where credit is due for them. When Golf called them out, I do appreciate those pastors coming out and showing up calling his bluff. I give the credit where the credit is due. On that. But I just making my point because I see people marching. Like marching is just a waste of shoe leather, like John Henry Clark said. Dr. Clark. It's a waste of shoe leather. But Sean, go ahead. Tell us what you think of what you saw from the prosecutors, what you think of what's going to happen with this trial. Do you think it'll be different than Rittenhouse? And then we'll move on to the next topic.
I believe this trial is definitely going to be different from Rittenhouse because we have a judge who is practically controlling his courtroom and is focusing primarily on the evidence of the case. So that's a core foundation to why this trial will be very different from Rittenhouse. And he's also controlling the media and the atmosphere around the case so that we can get the facts and the evidence of the case. Now, the defense is looking like a clown show, basically, because they're trying to make everything about race, and they're deflecting because they know they don't have a strong case as related to the evidence that is there. They know that the evidence practically does make it where the evidence is there beyond a reasonable doubt as related to them murdering Ahmaud Arbery. And they want to go out here and try to deflect by talking about Al Sharpton, Martin Luther King III, black pastors. None of this has anything to do with the core argument of the case, which is that the defendants went out here and murdered Ahmaud Arbery, and they don't have any leg to stand on. And that was shown by the brilliant cross-examination of the witness, which practically got him to incriminate himself and make it where beyond a reasonable doubt that this man is practically just confessed to participating in this crime. So they're scared at this point because they know they don't really have much legs to stand on as related to this case. So now they want to go out here and deflect talking about people in the gallery who the jury aren't going to pay attention to. Their primary focus is the evidence. And the evidence in this case is so strong that the only way that I see it coming out is a possible conviction. But here in America, we know that as related to cases like Rodney King and many others, like George Zimmerman, your juries can try to play games with it. But the evidence here is practically irrefutable when you look at it from the way the prosecution has presented it, that these three are going to go to jail for a very long time.
They're going to go to jail for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And
they're going to be meeting Bubba and Tiny.
William Roddy Bryan may be the only one that stands a chance, but the way his lawyer is pissing off everybody, I think he's doing more harm than good by keep doing this. Now, you want to give your client zealous representation, but you also want to be professional, and you don't want to piss off the judge. And when you
don't want to alienate judges who
your colleagues, the colleagues that are there, because they didn't even like his comments.
He just went out of line. He's way out of line.
We don't want any more black pastors. Well, murder is life without parole.
Yeah.
Darius, if it's varies in different different states, but if you're talking about an intentional
first degree murder is life in prison without parole.
First degree murder is actually the death penalty here in Louisiana. If it's in the commission of a felony, armed robbery, and you have the intent to kill, you're armed with the intent to kill, that's first degree murder. Whereas second degree murder, it's either or. You're engaged in an enumerated felony and someone dies, but you didn't have that mens rea, then that could be that second degree murder. It varies. But yes, this is, they murdered this man.
Yeah,
and I know as a lawyer, And as a lawyer, I'm for due process. So I want to hold off and be careful with my words because they are entitled to a fair trial. But the
Based
video,
on the evidence.
based off the evidence and what they said and what we know from the videotape and their own admissions, it is what it is. How did you think the man was a threat? Did he run towards you? He only ran towards you when you, from your own admission, you got out the car with the gun. And at that point, it's either it's fight or flight. And obviously, if he runs, he might be thinking they'll shoot me in my back. But if this was my child, man, I can only tell you what, there wouldn't be court. If Ahmaud Arbery were my son, that's just how I feel now. Hypothetically speaking. Shawn's on the phone.
Yeah, well, I was in the middle of some process, so yeah. Based on that, yeah, I would think that would be the thing to do. But the whole thing is, we have a court system, we have a legal system, and we have to go through the due process of the law. So
I know all that. I know that first. That's my profession, Shawn.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking. Nobody is a victim until you're. Nobody knows what it's like to be a victim until they're a victim.
Well, I've been a victim myself back in the late 80s, so I know what it is. And I know I've been racially profiled in stores, so I know how it is to be targeted like that. And the whole thing is, guys like this, they don't have good intentions when they go out here and target black people. They're looking to do harm, and they're looking for somebody to do harm too. And they're looking for a black perpetrator so they can go out here and participate in the violence they want to participate in, because they only see black people as a threat. I doubt these guys would be out here patrolling looking for white people like that, because in their mind, white people are not dangerous at all.
They weren't. And in fact, when they had several of those people walking around, at that construction site, they didn't think they were criminals.
No.
Couple. But, and let me be clear, Shawn, what I was saying, I wasn't saying that you weren't a victim of racial profile or anything, but what I was speaking about was the situation. You weren't murdered, obviously, because you're here.
Yeah,
but what I'm speaking on is that from a situation, if it were my family, yes, I sit here from my shoes, and as a lawyer, I know there's due process. I have never went through, and I hope I never go through, what Ahmaud Arbery's mother and father are feeling, or his sister, because they lost a loved one to, in my opinion and yours and people that are on here, due to racial prejudice.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a system, and I'm hoping this is not another George Zimmerman case where they're trying to argue self-defense, but here, Ahmaud, and I think the biggest thing that helps Ahmaud is the video camera that the defendant took himself.
Yeah.
He filmed it, and then he went to a lawyer who leaked it.
So they basically incriminated themselves.
He incriminated his client by doing that. He thought, well, go ahead and show it because it'll make you look good. But then, well, you leaked the video out, but then the GBI investigates and they find further, well, wait a minute, what is his fabrics doing on your car? What is his fingerprints doing on your car? Why were you following him? And all of that is adding up. So they, but it's getting worse. They did not do themselves any favor. And in fact, I believe they rested their case.
Well, they have irrefutable evidence at this point.
The defense rested their case today, by the way.
Good.
So,
with an incrimination, they practically should rest. No need to further go into any more arguments. The point has been made.
Right. So now what happens if the defense rests? That means the next thing is closing arguments. So I imagine that's going to come sometime next week, and we'll see what happens with that. But we're gonna keep monitoring this story, man. This is big, so we'll find out.
It's very big.
So, next thing I wanted to share. Let's see. I had this up already. White House builds bridges with one of Black community's most powerful groups. This is coming from Politico. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, guys, if you enjoy this conversation with me and Brother Shawn James. Shawn, the author of books like The Man Crisis and the John Haynes series, Nothing to Lose. You can pick that up. Also, go to Patreon if you want exclusive content. That's the link at the bottom. Or if you like to advertise, you can email me there. We're going to go to this topic, but Biden and Harris reach out to the Divine Nine. Now, those of you who are familiar, if you went to HBCU, you know who the Divine Nine are. Those are the Black sororities and fraternities like the Deltas, the AKAs, the Sigma, Gamma Rhos, and of course, for the men of fraternities, you got the Phi Beta Sigma, you have Kappa Alpha Psi, and the Alpha Phi Alpha, the Omegas, the Q Dogs, whose birthday, Founders Day was yesterday, and I saw that all on my timeline. But it says here that Biden and Harris are trying to reach out to, and you see this picture with the presidents of the Council of Presidents of the National Pan-Hellenic Council. That's her at the front, Miss AKA, that's reaching out to them to help them get Black people out to vote. To successfully enact new voting rights and police reform laws, President Joe Biden may need some divine intervention. But if he can't get that, at least he's working to get some help from the Divine Nine. The Divine Nine represents 9 historically Black fraternities and sororities and their alumni. It is arguably the most powerful organization in the Black community. And until now, they've already been an untapped resource for administrations looking to connect with Black voters. The Biden White House is trying to change that, intensifying its outreach to the group as it scrambles to reassure a crucial voting bloc that is increasingly unhappy with the lack of progress on its core issues. So the Divine Nine boast about 2.5 million members worldwide, including some of the most powerful and influential Black people in the country in the Biden administration, from Marcia Fudge to Jim Clyburn, who's a Biden ally, and of course Kamala Harris, who's the vice president. Unlike many of their fraternity and sorority counterparts where participation typically ends with college graduation, the Divine Nine organization tend to be a lifelong active commitment with strong connections and influence in the Black community. And they are ready to bring an orchestra of ski-wees, grooves, and whoops to the White House grounds. So they're recruiting them to help them out, getting the Black people out there to vote. Remember, souls to the polls and Chucks and Pearls crowd, because they wanted Madam Vice President to be the first AKA in the White House and the first Black female in the White House, although she's Hindu Brahmin. Even on her birth certificate, it says Caucasian. But you see all of this. So the stepped up outreach comes amid a surge frustration among Black activists over Biden's tenure. They've lost patience with the administration's strategy of executive orders and speech making and are demanding a more forceful response to Republican blockade on policing, voting rights, and other priority legislation. Let me say this on that one, and already I can tell how this article is written. It's obviously by somebody who's pro-Democrat. That is not the reason why people have lost patience with the Biden administration, that they're not putting any legislation on the table on policing and voting rights. We're talking about cutting the check. And let's be real. Let's not forget that this president, just this past week, signed an executive order for Native Americans, protecting them. He has also signed executive orders for LGBTQ, protecting them. And he has proposed financial payments to illegal immigrants because of the Trump policy on separation at the borders, which, by the way, and Shawn, you know this, you're an educated man, a nation has a right to sovereignty. They have a right to govern its borders how they see fit. That's the law in every nation. And it's in our Constitution. The president has the ability to do this. And I'd say the Divine Nine, they're influential. I don't know about power. Well, because where does power come from?
I don't think they're as influential as people think, as Democrats think they are anymore.
Well, I don't think they're as influential either. I mean, look, and I told you the story before. I actually thought of joining a fraternity once, but when I saw how much it was going to cost, I was like, oh shit, hell no. It just wasn't a priority for me. But what do you think of this, Shawn, this outreach that they're trying to do?
I think your Biden administration is backpedaling now after it arrogantly made the statement in 2020 it couldn't do anything for the Black community. And now that they're seeing that Black folks are staying home after their pandering with souls to the polls led to many people just staying home, now they want to go out here and go to the Black buffers in an effort to try to get the Black vote back on track. Unfortunately, it's not going to work because most Black Americans have a memory of realizing that your joker, Joe Biden, has basically disrespected them. So they're realizing that they have no need to go out here and deal with these Divine Nine, because these Divine Nine, these Black elites, they're basically a buffer group that do not speak for Black Americans, especially foundational Black Americans, and those who are a part of new Black media. No, the new Black Americans who are foundational Black Americans, we can speak for ourselves, and we don't need to listen to some group of handpicked elites who are basically Black bootlicks who only want to just tell us to keep voting for the left, even though he's already said he's not going to do anything. So we're not interested in hearing from these bootlicks. No, what we want are our own agenda, and what we want to do is create our own agenda where we get tangibles for ourselves. So this is a desperate attempt after seeing Joe Biden's approval rating crater after several missteps. And now what they're trying to do is trying to shore up that Black vote after seeing this guy, I think, whatever guy in Virginia who got destroyed, and to see them basically, they were this close to losing New Jersey. McAuliffe get destroyed, see your Phil Murphy practically almost lose, and all of that was due to the Black vote staying home. So now they're trying to get the Black vote to come back, but the Black vote is not coming back. And they thought they had guarantees with these Hispanics and Asians, but from what I've been reading, the Hispanics and Asians are going more and more Republican. So they have basically screwed the pooch at this point by thumbing their nose at the Black voter. Now, again, your Joe Biden was arrogant back in December of 2020 when he threw a middle finger up at Black leaders. And your old school Black leaders, they are not the ones controlling things anymore. Your Jim Clyburns, your civil rights dinosaurs, they're not the ones controlling anything now. No, the power rests in new Black media and your newer Black Americans, like your Gen Xers, your Gen Ys, your millennials, your Gen Z, and they are a lot more conservative than their parents were, and they're not voting down a ticket. No, they're voting for tangibles, and they're voting for an agenda. And what they want to hear is that the check is being cut, and that they were looking for how much the check is going to be. And if they don't hear anything about tangibles, they have no incentive to vote, especially for a candidate who has been paternalistic, condescending, and practically disrespectful to the Black voter. So America's Black voters are not the same as they were during the Civil Rights era, and going to the Divine Nine is not going to get Black voters to the polls, and nobody's going to take their booty to the poll or soul to the poll for a group of politicians who see Black people as nothing more than being focused on sex, because Black Americans are focused on an agenda, and what we're looking for are tangibles. And for somebody to say they're going to cut the check.
Yeah. And let me say this too. The Biden administration has virtually ignored the Black community since it has gotten in office. It has not made it a top priority. He has stated that from the beginning, even before he was sworn in. So all of the Black people who went and voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and especially those that had these campaigns like Chucks and Pearls and Get Your Booty to the Polls and Souls to the Polls, what good did that do you?
Got us nothing.
It got nothing, exactly. It shows that, you have no influence. And yes, the Asians and the Hispanics, they're voting Republican. Remember, even in Florida, Donald Trump wasted Joe Biden in that election.
Yeah.
Those
and here in New York, Eric Adams thought he had Hispanic and Asian vote, but it turns out they practically were voting Republican for Curtis Sliwa in large numbers.
Do you still think? Let me ask you something, Shawn. Did you ever think? Just curious, off topic. Did you ever think something was up with that election?
Which one? New York's?
This one? No, this presidential in 2020.
I don't know if there was. I can't really say. So I can't really say because there's no facts behind that. There's nothing to substantiate that.
I mean, I have heard that. What's up, Darius? Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, Darius, as well. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I have heard that. Of course, Judge Joe, he talks about it often. He's talked about it before, but I know I have a hard time just still believing that Joe Biden broke Barack Obama's record.
I don't believe that either, but the whole thing is there's no evidence to prove it.
Some people say, "Oh yeah, no, it's true. They could have done it because you got to count absentee ballots." Well, who's doing all that? But I still have issues with it, especially you look at his approval rating now. I know it was bad even then because just voting last year was just like, we just want the orange man out. That's all. But now you got him out. You're even in a worse position.
The whole thing is they came there to just get him out, but they had no plan.
Everything
was feelings. The whole thing is you can't run a country on feelings. You have to have a direction.
Yeah, it's a dead duck. Lame duck. I think he's going to end up as a one-term president.
I don't think he's going to be even able to run. He's on LBJ level cratering.
He won't be. I don't think he'll be president for. I think he'll resign as president. You'll see it. Darius says he believes that he stole the election. You tell me Jim Crow Joe got more black votes than 08 Obama? Hell no. Yeah. Some people say that. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, please, and contribute to the chat at the bottom. Last thing I want to talk about, well, something that was brought to my attention earlier this week, Shawn. I did have one quick topic I'll just bring up right fast, and that was this. This is a fast topics. We say random hot topics, but this is a fast topic right now. Did you hear this story, Shawn? It's being reported out that the Manhattan District Attorney is dropping charges against two individuals that wrongfully convicted for the murder of Malcolm X. It says here that more than half a century, this is from Yahoo News, that Manhattan Judge Ellen Biben dismissed the convictions of Muhammad Aziz and the late Khalil Islam after prosecutors and the men's lawyers said a renewed investigation found evidence that undermined the case against the men and determines authorities withheld some of what they knew. If we didn't know that. Let's just go ahead and play a little bit of that, which happened. This is courtesy of Yahoo News, guys. So that was just that video at the bottom, but they said that the event that has brought us to court today, this is from Aziz, who's still alive, that has brought us to court today should never have occurred. Aziz told the court, I'm an 83-year-old man who was victimized by the criminal justice system. It pained Islam's sons, Amin Johnson and Shahid Johnson, that their parents died before seeing the conviction reversed. Still, Amin Johnson said his father would have been ecstatic to clear his name. His reputation means a lot to him, the son said, and now we don't have to watch over our backs, worrying about any repercussions from anybody who thought that he might have been the one that killed Malcolm X. Aziz and Islam, who maintained their innocence from the start in the 1965 killing at Upper Manhattan's Audubon Ballroom, were paroled in the 1980s. Islam died in 2009. There can be no question that this is a case that cries out for fundamental justice, Bivens said. Now, as I'm reading further in the article, of course, I'm trying to see, I haven't read it, I haven't seen it, but I'm just looking to see when they're going to blame Farrakhan. And obviously in here, interesting enough, there's no mention of Minister Farrakhan in the article. Okay. So they reinvestigated and found that the FBI and police failed to turn over evidence that cast significant doubt on Islam and Aziz as suspects. Now, Thomas Hager, he actually wrote, Thomas Hagen, I apologize. He actually had some affidavits. He's still alive, by the way. This is Hagen here. Hold on. Now, he was one of the assassins, and it's been undoubtedly proven that he was involved in Malcolm X's assassination. And he wrote an affidavit back in the 70s that Johnson and Butler were not involved. It was called the Hayer Affidavits. Talmadge Hayer, who was known as Thomas Hagen, was one of the convicted assassins. And he said that Hayer, Butler, and Johnson had nothing to do with it. Butler, now known as Muhammad Abdul Aziz, was paroled in 1985. Johnson, who changed his name to Khalil Islam, was released from prison in 1987. And these two men maintained their innocence. Now, sadly, that took a lot from their life, being in prison for something you didn't commit. You lose time with your family, you lose your life, your time as a man. You miss things. Not being able to see your kids grow up is one of them. That's a terrible thing to even fathom if I ever had to go through. But I am at least happy that these brothers did get their name cleared. But the thing again, too, is on the flip side, did Malcolm X ever get justice for his killing? And I would say undoubtedly no. That's the reverse side of that. Shawn, what are your thoughts, if you can, about this?
Well, if these men did not murder Malcolm X, then I am glad that they have been exonerated. But the critical question I have to ask is, who actually did take Malcolm X's life? I mean, if we have not found the actual killers of Malcolm X, then that leads to a question that we really need to try to figure out as related to the murder of the great Malik el-Shabazz. I think that's the thing that we really need to focus on, is that your Malcolm X's murder still remains unsolved, and I don't know if we'll ever find out who actually committed this murder. Now, if these men did not do this, then it was a great injustice to them for them to lose so much time out of their lives to be punished for a crime that they did not commit. And there definitely had to be some sort of cover up to lead to these men getting tried and convicted for a crime that they did not commit. And that is the other question we need to figure out. Who would want to perpetrate this kind of cover up to cover up for the actual killers? That's another question that we really need to figure out as related to this case, because I don't know who the suspects would be in this case, who would want to. I know that people wanted to eliminate Malcolm X because on some places there'd be a motive because he had discovered the true Islam and not this Nation of Islam religion. So that would be one reason. But we really need, it's a lot of mystery here. And we really, it's like we're not really getting to the layers of it. And yes, this is good that we cleared this man's name, these two men's name, but we really need to find out who actually did this crime and try to find out who they are. And if they are alive, bring those people to justice.
All right, most definitely. And you know, I think that has to do with renewed interest from the Netflix documentary "Who Killed Malcolm X" that came out last year. But let me say this: Dick Gregory for years, and yes, you're correct, Darius, said "Who Killed Malcolm X." You know, if you read a book called "The Assassinations" by Jim DiEugenio, he goes into depth about Malcolm X's assassination, because it's in the 60s. You had the deaths of 4 prominent American leaders, although Malcolm would not consider himself an American. But for Malcolm X, before that you had the death of John F. Kennedy. You also, or the assassination of John F. Kennedy, then Malcolm X, then Martin Luther King Jr., and then finally Bobby Kennedy. And remember, Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King were killed within 2 months of each other, to the exact same date. Dr. King was April 4th, Bobby Kennedy was June 4th, June 5th. So that's not a coincidence. Yes, you're correct. The NYPD was involved. Even Malcolm's bodyguard was an informant, Eugene Roberts. He's the one that was giving Malcolm CPR, knowing that when it's a gunshot victim, you put pressure on the wound. Although
So it was a setup of some sort.
It was a setup between the New York Police Department, the FBI, the Central Intelligence Agency. Just quickly, Shawn, I'll just give you this one thing. That same day, on February 21st, 1965, a guy named DePinto, who was out in, I believe, the country of Nigeria. He was a leader out there. Baba Dick Gregory even said this. He is the one, according to what Dick Gregory said, that encouraged Malcolm to form the OAUU, the Organization of African American Unity, and take charges of the United States to the United Nations. DePinto was assassinated that same day. I'm sorry, his name is Pio Gamma Pinto. I said DePinto, but I'm quoting Dick Gregory. He was assassinated not less than 3 days after Malcolm's assassination. He was a Kenyan journalist, politician, and freedom fighter. I said Nigeria. He was from Kenya.
Yeah.
He was 38 years old. And Kenya was given its independence. To this day, they don't know who killed him.
It seems to be a major thing as related to a lot of these black leaders.
Yes, of course, it was about preventing the rise of a Messiah. Hoover actually wrote that not long before Dr. King was assassinated. I wouldn't call, no disrespect to the great Fred Hampton, I wouldn't necessarily say he was the Black Messiah as in the movie, although I know they tried to, the way they had it was Judas and the Black Messiah. But Martin Luther King Jr. Was clearly the heir apparent, was clearly the Messiah that they were referring to. And when Martin was eliminated, then it was Fred. But you had others that were also killed in the struggle, not just Brother Fred Hampton. but I want to share. Yeah, so you guys look this up. His name is Pio Gamma Pinto. Because he founded the Kenyan African National Union, and he had a newspaper. He was a journalist, he was a politician, he was a freedom fighter, and Kenya became independent because of him, in part. And he was considered its first martyr for independence. So, but back to Malcolm X, I'm glad that these men who are exonerated, unfortunately, it was too little too late, but still, I'm grateful that their names have been cleared, at least for their family's sake. And for their sake, I know Mr. Aziz is still alive, so I'm grateful that that happened for him. All right, final thing I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know I'm into music and R&B. Shawn, I don't know, but if you're a big fan of the Gap Band, if you're a fan of them, then you know that we lost Ronnie Wilson on November 2nd of this year. Ronnie Wilson, founding member of the Gap Band, died after suffering a stroke, according to his wife on a Facebook post that she posted on Instagram on November 3rd. It says here, according to the article on NPR, the love of my life was called home this morning. Linda Boulware Wilson wrote, stating that Ronnie Wilson was a genius with creating, producing, and playing the flugelhorn, trumpet, keyboards, and singing music from childhood to his early 70s. Wilson formed the Gap Band in the early 1970s in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with his brothers Charlie and Robert. That's obviously Uncle Charlie, that's Ronnie, and that's Robert. It says here, the brothers grew up with a love of music, raised by a music teacher, mother, and a preacher father. Ronnie would develop into an accomplished multi-instrumentalist, contributing keyboards, horns, and percussion, in addition to vocals on several of the band's albums. Their debut album, Magician's Holiday, in 1974, was released in 1974. But it was in the 1980s that the group's distinctive electro-funk style would come to define the era's increasingly synth-heavy R&B sound. The band produced a number of hit songs, including You Dropped the Bomb on Me, Burn Rubber on Me, Why You Want to Hurt Me, and, of course, the timeless Outstanding. My favorite song that actually Mr. Wilson wrote is this song. Unfortunately, I cannot play it, but my favorite Gap Band song is actually one they would play, as they say in the Quiet Storm, and that's Yearning for Your Love, that he actually wrote with Oliver Scott. You can't keep running in and out of my life. Keep running. I love that. I don't know about you, Shawn, but yeah, those are classics. So rest in peace to Mr. Ronnie Wilson. Shawn, if you want to give, before I let you talk, let me just make your point. Let me also say that Mr. Wilson dedicated his life later on into the church after retiring from music, although he served as the music minister of San Antonio's Community Bible Church, turning to religion after a long career. Some of the influence that the Gap Band has had, especially with their songs, include Ice Cube, Mary J. Blige, and Shantae, and they earned a songwriting credit for the song Uptown Funk, noting similarities between that song and their classic Oops Upside Your Head. So Mr. Charlie Wilson is the last surviving member of the Gap Band. He was the youngest brother, and Robert suffered a heart attack and died at the age of 53 in 2010. Shawn, you have anything, a comment you want to say in particular about R&B music, about the Gap Band?
I'm really sorry to hear about the passing of such a legendary musician. I mean, I've listened to some Gap Band here and there, and it's really sad to hear that he has passed. And I'm sure that his legacy will go on because that music was big in the 80s, and he laid the foundation for that. And he will be remembered for being a great musician and being a great man overall. So I'm really sorry to hear about his passing, and my condolences go to him, his family, and all those fans out there who listen to his music. And I'm hoping that people honor him by continuing to keep his music going and continuing to keep his music known and continue to keep it out there.
Yes, most definitely. Now look at this. This is the Gap Band's discography at the bottom. You can see there. And this is the song Yearning for Your Love, which is my favorite Gap Band song that he wrote and co-wrote. And you look at this, it's been sampled by many artists, just that song from Heavy D to Mia X to Mariah Carey for Touch My Body. Nas has sampled it. You know, everybody takes from that. And I think there's a yearning, I should say, for this style of music to return. That's why I'm so big in doing it. PJ Morton covered the song for his album Paul. So the influence of the Gap Band in R&B and in music in general is present. There's a reason why Bruno Mars and Mark Ronson took from that song and put in, oh, thank you, Midnight Green. You can't keep running in and out of my life. Come on, Shawn. Keep running.
I don't do that. I don't sing.
Out of my life. Keep on running in and out of my life. Keep running. Boom, 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 boom. Time for you and I to stop messing around. I made you have your love in my life. Oh, baby. Don't you worry. He wrote that song for his wife at the time, too. So, classic. Well, Shawn, I won't keep you anymore, brother. I'm out of topics right now, and I know you got to leave. But someone said Bruno is always sampling. It's annoying. What do you, I'm just curious, what do you think of the state of music now? Like do you listen to like Bruno Mars and those guys, or?
I have listened to Bruno Mars here and there, but the state of American music has been garbage for some time. I mean, these guys have no heart. A lot of them have no talent. And it's mostly about trying to sell you an image instead of selling you a sound. And that's one of the big problems with today's music is people are more about selling you an image and a gimmick, but not selling you a sound. And you really, when you're doing music, it's all about the sound. It's all about the rhythm and the melodies. And we've lost that here in America. We no longer are about crafting good music and writing songs from the heart. It's all about just trying to make a commercial image. And that's one of the things that American music has lost, that craftsmanship and that passion.
Yeah.
And we really need to get back to that type of musical style where we have people focused on writing songs from the heart and making melodies and stuff that it's about creating a great sound. And that's something we really need to get back to.
I want to get a copyright. Yeah, great sound indeed. But people are talking about verses, and they said Shaka Khan and Shaka Khan's going against Stephanie Mills, and they said Shaka is high. I don't know who that is. I think that's her daughter, if I'm not mistaken. But kudos to the outfit that's holding all of that stuff together right there, because it'd be titties galore up in that building. Damn. I can't play the music, y'all, but yeah, Shaka. I heard Shaka is high, like she went to Snoop Dogg's house before she came on stage. I don't know what's going on. I gotta watch it later. But they said they said it was bad. Nicole just said Shaka. Oh my God. Let me just show y'all right quick. Nicole actually, and I'm gonna let you out of here, Shawn. But you're right, the state of music has gone down lately. It's certainly not the same. But Nicole put this up. Look at this. she's got Ned the Wino, Shaka Time Tonight on Versus. It's that bad? Lord. Chesticles. Shaka Khan is Ned DeWine. You know that, Sean, and thinking about it on good times, the Evans could have got out of the ghetto quicker. They could have actually gotten out of the ghetto quicker if it hadn't been for Florida.
Yeah, she got in the way a lot of her fear.
We can't do this. James, we can't do this. Yeah, like JJ gambling.
Yep.
Give the money back, James. Yeah. All right. Well, Sean, want to do a plug-in for something, man?
Well, I'll do another plug-in for my books again, and the new fall SJS Direct 2021 book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace and E-Steam Cancellation, are now available on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, and you can pick both of these up on Amazon.com right now. And you can also pick up other SJS Direct books like ISIS Revenge of the Cyber Goddess and John Haynes Taking Care of Business on Amazon.com as well. These positive Black fantasy, fiction, and nonfiction books are great gifts for members of your family, and they're great reads for the holiday season. So I'm asking everybody to go out here and pick up some great SJS Direct books on the SJS Direct imprint on Amazon.com and help get some more positive books out there. So that's all I'm asking people to do. And you can also check out my channel, Shawn James, on YouTube. And I'm going to be doing another live stream. I'm still getting ready, just wondering what the topic is, but that'll be coming at 11 p.m. tomorrow. So I'm going to be hosting another live stream where I'll be talking about something. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, whatever it is, it'll be good. You guys tune in tomorrow. Chesticles galore. Yeah, I hope everybody got cookies, because when that bra pops, everybody going to get milk. Oh my God. I gotta go back and listen to it. I know I think Versus is not even a Black owned, if I'm not mistaken. I think they sold it to Apple earlier this year. Yeah, someone could confirm that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that has been it for today's show. Of course, let me do my plug-in. Let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, please go to our website, NornisCreoleBlends.com. Just in time for the holidays, you can put this rub on your turkey. We'll mail it out to you as soon as possible. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nornis goes great with every dish, including turkey. I know I ruined the slogan there, but since it's Thanksgiving time, Nornis goes great on turkey. So go ahead and try some. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to go and hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you like this live stream. Go to check out my page on Apple. You can listen to Video Soul. That's the latest single that I have. Listen to that, download it, purchase that also on Amazon, and you can also stream it on Spotify. And of course, as we get on out of here, we got to get on up, because we've gotten on down. Now it's time to get on up. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you could, would you please drop something into the Cash App for me, Gavin Richard Esquire, or PayPal? Thank you again, Darius, for your donation tonight. Google Pay and Zelle. And you can support Sean's Cash App as well at Shawn S. James, or buy one of his books. That's just the best way to support the brother. Keep getting some book sales for him. Like John Haynes series, Stop Simping in the Workplace. He's working on his next book, which is The Woman Crisis, which is a must. I'm sure it's going to be a must. It is a must read. Let me just say it right now. If it's anything like The Man Crisis. But anyway, guys, let's go on and get on up out of here. Sean, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you for having me.
And this has been another edition of Random Topic Thursdays on channel GBoo2786. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat.
because on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on. Baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
We felt the groove, get on the floor, baby. Y'all stay tuned now. My boy Gavin Richard will be back on Sunday evening to do a live stream again here on channel G-Boot 2786. He'll holler, but Steve Harvey, yeah, y'all know I don't holler. My ass speak loud and clear, y'all. Good night. Yeah, ain't that right, Charles Barkley? Well, personally, I feel like Steve Harvey, I don't listen to you anymore, especially after the way you dogged me on Celebrity Family Feud. I don't watch it no more. Frankly, I think it's terrible, 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 and I could care less about how you talk. Yeah, well, your ass dumb anyway. Good night, y'all.